Now, she's out on the west side on Memorial Drive between the Beltway and Gessner in what could be a rescue situation, but we aren't certain. Grace, what's the latest?
Hi, Lynn and Mia. It is hard to hear you guys. We are inside a truck right now. You can't see me. I'm down below, and my photographer is giving you the picture from above. And we think that we have found the car that was honking. And I just talked to the Texas Rangers SWAT team member that hopped in the water. He's trained in this. He believes this car is empty. He believes this car was possibly the car alarm might have been going off, the floodwaters triggering it. So again, we're still waiting to have final confirmation, but he just swam back to our truck and gave us a quick update that he thinks this is good news. It might have just been a car alarm, not a person trapped in floodwaters. So again, I know we've been taking along this journey, wanted to make sure before we give the final all clear out here. He's still double checking as they are trained to do. That's him. You can probably see him in the picture in the waters there. And again, you can see the light behind him because he thinks this car that's parked in a townhome in the parking spot is malfunctioning out here. So certainly good news for anybody that's been watching. We've been asking for help. We think that this is clear out here. I'm going to wait till I get the final confirmation as he's loading back in our truck here. But it looks like this possibly was just a car alarm. We know that can happen. We know these waters rise quickly. We know a lot of people left their cars, and cars do this from time to time in floodwaters. So again, a developing situation out here in West Houston between the Beltway and Gessner on Memorial Drive. This is an older complex. It's been here for a while, and again, we believe that this possibly was a car malfunctioning because of floodwaters. Now, as we've been going through this complex, though, I can tell you the water is very high. You can probably see our live picture. It's up to midway probably on a lot of these garages. We're trying to figure out if these townhomes are evacuated.
I'll let you know what it's on.
Do you think this is just voluntary? It's just a voluntary?
If you just stand there, you'll be fine.
I don't think it was never mandatory.
Never mandatory. Okay, so we think this is just a voluntary evacuation. Sure, and some of them are second story, and we may have a lot of people still living in here tonight if they did not decide to leave.
Right. Because this is not from the rain. This is not from the hurricane.
Right. This is from the release, right? Water still rising out here in West Houston.
Up there, there's a pair of trucks. Up front, very up front. Up.
Sure, so we're just helping with supplies back here on the truck. That's why you heard me drop off. We're just handing some gloves here to the gentleman in the water. He's just doing a final sweep of this area. Mia and Lynn will update you once we get to dry land. But again, good news out here to report. They do believe this was just a car malfunctioning. But we're taking a final look at the area because there's a lot of high water out here, guys. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Okay, Grace White, thank you so much. So we want to be clear here. What Grace is saying is they believe the honking sound from that car is due to a malfunctioning car alarm and not somebody hitting the horn. But that's not totally verified just yet, but they believe that is the case.
They're going to double check. They're probably going to triple check.
Yes.
In this case, because of all of the high water there, and you understand the reason for concern if you're hearing something like that, why you would want to check it out, to go in and make sure that there's no one trapped and in need of rescuing. So we're hearing Grace White underneath us talking, but they're even looking in the homes, and while they're there, they're also observing. I'm going to let her talk.
The street turns, and I knew it had to be deep back in here, that it wasn't something that you or I could just see or shout or, you know? Yeah.
And when he first got out, I was like,
but you know what? Though, it's worth. I mean, you just never know. Y'all did the right thing, you know.
So we've been watching story unfold. We believe that the honking horn that Grace White was hearing out on the west side is from a car alarm malfunctioning, not someone beeping, looking for help. That believes to be the case. She's still there, staying on top of it. We'll go back to her momentarily. But for the moment, let's go to the phone now with the Fort Bend County Office of Emergency Management, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so
Alan Spears on
oh,
the
Alan
line.
is there.
Yes, Alan Spears with us on the line there. And Fort Bend County has upgraded voluntary evacuation to a mandatory evacuation along the Barker Reservoir. Alan, tell us the situation there right now with this upgrade in the evacuation.
Well, what happened is we initially ordered a voluntary evacuation, and a lot of people did heed that warning and did leave. But it's getting to the point now that, you know, people saw that the sun is shining and all that, and they're thinking that they can get back in their homes, and we still have a lot of flooded homes back there. So in order to prevent people from, you know, going back to their homes, we just had to go ahead and make that mandatory because it's just not safe to go back there yet.
So this is just a reminder that it's not over, and also we're looking at all of the subdivisions that you're saying should evacuate. You also don't want people to leave in the middle of the night unless it's life-threatening, correct?
Exactly.
And how many people do you think are still in these subdivisions?
Honestly, I don't know. I know that DPS, the sheriff's office, and the Texas Task Force 1 people have been up there and advising people that they need to leave. But so I honestly can't say.
Alan, are there some of these communities that are far worse than others? Into our newsroom today, we had video of Canyon Gate there, right along Mason Road, I think just north of the West Park Tollway. The video we saw was basically a boat passing by the entrance of that neighborhood there and the apartments just to the north of it. Do other communities look very much like that one? And which ones are seeing the most flooding and high water at this point?
Well, and we do know that the Canyon Gate area right there on the Barker Reservoir would be the first to be inundated in a catastrophic event such as we've had. But that whole area, the Canyon Gate area, and those that were listed in the mandatory evacuation, they're all certainly threatened.
And do they all already have water? Floodwaters there?
They all don't have water in their homes yet, but that is still a possibility.
Alan, where should people go who evacuate from these subdivisions? Is there a shelter nearby?
We do have shelters nearby. I've got a large list, and what we would do is, if people want to get out, you know, we can. All they've got to do is call, and we will get them out, and we will have buses staged up there, and we will go to the closest available shelters that are open up there.
You said call. Call who?
Call our office, 281-342-6185. And if they need to get out of their subdivision, we'll make arrangements to get them out, either by boat or by high-wheel vehicle. And we'll take them out to an area, put them on a bus, and go ahead and get them to a shelter.
All right, Alan, while we have you on the phone, let's talk about other areas of concern in Fort Bend County. I know we've been watching the situation along the Brazos River down in Sienna Plantation. What's going on there? That area is still under mandatory evacuation, and I think some people were thinking, oh, things are improving because they're not seeing the street flooding, but the river is still of concern, correct?
That is correct. The initial street flooding that they saw down in Sienna was from the large amount of rain that we got, and you know that did collect inside the levee, but the levee district was able to pump that out exactly the way it's designed, and that's why they saw the lowering of the water in the street. But the Brazos River is still on the outside of that levee, and it still hasn't crested yet. So, yeah, we've still got river issues down there. And so, you know, at the level that we're predicting, we just can't say what is going to happen down there. We're not concerned about the levee structure itself. All the levees are doing what they're supposed to do, and they're all, you know, working well. But just like all the levees that we've told, the Brazos River hasn't crested yet. It's getting to a level that nobody has seen. So, we can't let people back in there yet because we just don't know what's going to happen.
It's
Alan,
a safety issue.
I'm sorry, Mia.
You're
The
fine.
Brazos is expected to crest when? Do you know?
Oh gosh, I was just pulling that up.
I believe it's today.
It's tonight.
It's right. It's later today.
Like
Perhaps
Thursday.
around 6 p.m. Well, today is Thursday,
Yeah.
so perhaps around 6 p.m. if my memory serves me right. But we'll double check that information and confirm there. But until that happens, it's really more of a precaution in some of these neighborhoods at this time, right, Alan, to keep people out and away from them.
Yes. Let's see. Yeah, right now the river is at 54.62 feet, and it is supposed to crest Friday at about 10 or 11 o'clock Friday morning.
Okay, so
Okay.
that time and day has changed on us, and of course, everything here is fluid. So Friday between 10 and 11 a.m. in the morning. So people have got to wait until we see what happens with this river before they attempt to even return to some of these communities.
Right. And they can go to our website and take a look at what the river is doing. The gauges are working great, and we've got the predicted measures up there. And so far, what's being predicted is what the river is doing.
Alan Spears, Fort Bend County Office of Emergency Management, you have a lot on your hands. We thank you for sharing all of this information, and if need be, we will get back to you. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Man, that's really something. This is what we've been talking about. The rains have moved on. Mm-hmm. The sun has come out, and people get anxious. I can understand that. But we've still got rivers cresting, reservoirs creating problems in the bayou, and it's just not totally safe. We're seeing evacuations ordered in these subdivisions in Fort Bend County, and we've also seen evacuations ordered in Wharton tonight, where they say there's a wall of water on the north side of town. So we got to stay on top of it and alert people.
Yeah, and we're going to be sure to continue to do that for you. That's for certain. Let's go ahead and check back in with Grace White. She had a developing situation there happening out along Memorial near Gessner, not too far from the Belt. She was on a heavy truck. They were trying to find a car with the horn honking that sounded at the time as if it was a distress call, but they believe after locating the vehicle that perhaps it was just the vehicle malfunctioning due to the water, but they were going to double check. Let's see. Grace, are you there?
Hi, Mia and Lynn. Yes, I'm here, and some more good news to report out here. We've got double confirmation now that there was nobody in that vehicle. Thankfully, we are all breathing a sigh of relief out here. These guys do incredible work. Houston Police, along with the Texas Ranger SWAT team, DPS, and they want to double, triple check these things for obvious reasons. And we certainly appreciate them letting us come along to see that work, to see this process. We had a guy actually in the water swim up to this truck. He checked it visibly, saw nobody inside. He just told me that. And then he checked again, to make sure that nobody was in there. He also did see visibly signs that the alarm, he says, was responding to the floodwaters malfunctioning, making that sound that possibly we heard 30 minutes or so ago. So he checked that location several times before we left. Then as we were leaving this townhome, and again, you can't see me because I'm still inside this DPS truck, but as we're leaving this townhome complex, there's a lot of high water. And for obvious reasons, they wanted to kind of sweep this area before we leave, just to see if they saw anything else. They did see a light. Sorry, that was a door. It's a big truck, loud doors here. But they did see a light shining or some lights on in an apartment. They actually went up to the apartment, knocking on the second floor windows just to make sure there wasn't anyone that needed help. They actually broke the window, went inside just to make sure. They've got to make sure everybody's okay out here. And they found nobody inside. So it was just an apartment where lights were left on. But it's awesome to see the hard work of Houston Police and DPS and the Texas Rangers out here double, triple checking these things because you just never know. And again, we applaud their efforts out here and just job well done, you know. And it's great to hear that it was a double, triple confirmation before we leave this high water here between Gessner and the Beltway on Memorial Drive here. This water is continuing to rise. They'll continue to watch this situation throughout the night, but obviously some good news out here, and we're so relieved, me and Lynn.
Grace, thank you so much. We echo your sentiments that we applaud the work that these rescue teams do. Hearing your report, it sounds like, and then rushing out to make sure, and then double and triple checking to confirm that the noise from the car was just a malfunctioning alarm. Nobody inside.